Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranams. Hearty welcome to all our Sakisanga Matajis for our next session of Sri Siksastakam. We have completed discussion on the first three verses, and today we are going to complete the fourth verse and also briefly touch the meaning of the fifth verse. Before that, we will first recite the Mangalacharana prayers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नामश्रेष्ठं मनुमपि शचीपुत्रमत्र स्वरूपं रूपं तस्याग्रजमुरुपुरीं माथुरीं गोष्ठवाटीं राधाकुण्डं गिरिवरमहो राधिका माधवाशां प्राप्तो यस्य प्रतितकृपया श्रीगुरुं तं नतोऽस्मि। कृष्णादन्यमजानतक्षणमपि स्वप्नेऽपि विश्वेश्वरे तस्मिन् भक्तिमहैतुकीं विदधतो हृत्काय वाग्भिः सदा। श्रीलान् सद्गुणपुञ्जकेलिनिलयान् प्रेमावतारानहं वन्दे भागवतानि माननुलभम् मूर्ध्ना निपत्यक्षितौ आजानुलम्बितभुजौ कनकावदातौ सङ्कीर्तनैकपितरौ कमलायताक्षौ विश्वम्भरौ द्विजवरौ युगधर्मपालौ वन्दे जगत्प्रियकरौ करुणावतारौ। जयतां सुरतौ पङ्गोर्मम मन्दमतेर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदाम्बोजौ राधा मदनमोहनौ नीलाचलनिवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्रसुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। एकेन चक्रमपरेण करेण शङ्खम् अन्येन सिन्धुतनयामवलम्ब्य तिष्ठन् वामेतरेण वरदाभयपद्मचिह्नं लक्ष्मीं नृसिंह मम देहि करावलम्बम्। आनन्दलीलामय विग्रहाय हेमाभदिव्यच्च विसुन्दराय तस्मै महाप्रेमरसप्रदाय चैतन्यचन्द्राय नमो नमस्ते। कृष्णोत्कीर्तनगाननर्तनकला पातो जनीभ्राजिता सद्भक्तावलिहंसचक्रमधुप श्रेणीविहारास्पदम् कर्णानन्दिर्कलध्वनिर्वहतु मे जिह्वामरुप्राङ्गणे श्रीचैतन्यदयानिधे तव लसल् लीलासुधा स्वर्धुनी। श्रीचैतन्यदयानिधे तव लसल् लीलासुधा स्वर्धुनी। हृद्वप्रेणवभक्तिसस्य वितते सञ्जीवनी स्वागमां रम्भे कामतपर्तुदाहदमनि विश्वापगोल्लासिनी। दूरान्मे मरुशाकिनोऽपि सरसि भावाय भूयात् प्रभु श्रीचैतन्यकृपानिरङ्कुशमः माधुर्य कादम्बिनी। प्रभु श्रीचैतन्यकृपानिरङ्कुशमः माधुर्य कादम्बिनी। So, before we start the fourth verse discussion, continue the fourth verse discussion, let's recite the first four verses of the Siksastakam. चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निनिर्वापनं श्रेयःकैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दाम्बुदिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतास्वादनं सर्वात्मस्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्। नाम्नामकारि बहुधा निज सर्वशक्तिः तत्रार्पिता नियमिता स्मरणेन कालः एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवमीदृशमिहा जनिनानुरागः त्रिनादपि सुनीचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानिना मानदेन कीर्तनीयः सदा हरि न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतात् भक्तिरहैतुकी त्वयि. So, in the first verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has identified the problem of the world, and then he is happy, he is ecstatic, he is in the mood of harsha and ullasa because he found out the solution for the problems of the world. The problem is we are all burning in the samsara davanala, and the solution is Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. And he has told us the way the seven water lilies that are blossoming in the presence of Sri Krishna Sankirtan. And then in the second verse, we see that Mahaprabhu's mood turns from harsha to grief, dainya, distress. He's telling the Lord is very merciful. So in his many, many names, he has put all his potencies. That's the good news. But there's a bad news, Durdaiva. My misfortune is that though the Lord's names are all potent, all powerful, the Lord has been so merciful that he has empowered his names in this way. I have no taste for chanting the holy names. So from there onwards, we see a gradual increase in his dainya. In the third verse, he further says, he mentions in what mood should one chant the holy names. Trinadapi sunichena, tarorapi sahishnuna, amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. So by chanting we have discussed that by chanting the holy names gradually, when one in his practice of bhakti reaches the bhava stage, these qualities, Trinadapi sunechena, tarorapi sahishnuna, amanina manadena, simultaneously actually are exhibited. It's not that once we become Trinadapi sunechena, tarorapi sahishnuna, amanina manadena, only then you chant the holy names. No, we keep chanting the holy names, and when that purified level comes, then these other symptoms, all the other three symptoms are exhibited. And while having that attitude, when we further continue to chant the holy names, then success is achieved. Then all the results that are told in the verse 1 will be manifested in a devote. Then after the third verse, Mahaprabhu's dainya increases even more because he knows that it is very difficult. He is the very source of pure devotional service, but he is chanting it from the perspective of a sadhaka. He feels that it is very, very difficult to attain that stage of Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna. So now he is praying to Lord Jagadisha that I do not want anything. I do not want money. I do not want people. I do not want beautiful women. I do not want poetic abilities. Birth after birth, oh my Lord, oh Jagannatha. Jagadisha is translated by most of the commentators as Jagannatha, because when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu uttered this Siksastakam, he was staying in Gambira in Puri Dham. So he was every day going to take darshan of Lord Jagannath. So here Jagadisha, all the commentators have translated as Jagannatha. Oh Jagannatha, I do not ask for wealth, na dhanam, na janam, I do not ask for followers, na sundarim, I do not ask for a beautiful spouse, na kavitamba, I do not ask for wonderful poetic abilities. Mama janmani janmanishwari, birth after birth. When he's saying birth after birth, that means he's asking no liberation. Liberation means no more birth, right? When he's telling it is birth after birth, Mama Janmani Janmanishwari, Bhavatat Bhakti Rahaitu Tvai. I only want causeless devotional service onto you. This is his prayer. So as we discussed, Mataji, can you stay in mute? So as we discussed last time, this verse, the fourth verse, is in a meter called Viyogini or Sundari. It is a Artha Samavritta. little grammar details just to appreciate how beautifully Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has composed this verse. We generally see it is a practice by some of the musical composers. When they make a particular compositions, they include the name of the raga somewhere in the. We generally see this in Dikshitar's compositions. Suppose if they are making a song in Brindavana Saranga, so in the song somewhere the word Brindavana Saranga comes not in the meaning of the raga, but with the words Brindavana Saranga being meaningful in that place, like that. So this particular verse, na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitamba jagadisha kamaye mama janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhakti rahaitu tvayi, is in a meter called Vyogini or Sundari. So the name of the meter is Sundari, and Mahaprabhu used the word Sundari in this verse. So that is the poetic excellence of Sri Mahaprabhu. So he is the Supreme Lord, but otherwise also Haripashad Prabhu was still a devotee, like Rupa Goswami, Jiva Goswami. They're all, it's not that they have renounced poetic abilities. When we say na kavitam, it means that we do not want any poetic ability for our own fame. But to the extent it enables us to glorify the Supreme Lord, to describe his name, fame, qualities, pastimes, etc. Devotees also a kavi. So for devotees, poetry is a very welcome asset, but exclusively used in the glorification of the Supreme Lord. So just to hint that Prabhuji was mentioning about the word Sundari in the meter Sundari. So last we will quickly look at the meaning of the shloka once again. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavita, va. Everybody remembers the importance of va. Va is in the meaning of cha, that is and not or. So na dhanam, I do not want no wealth, no followers. There are 4 terms, right? In between, va is generally used as or, correctly translated. But in Rasikarangada, in the Rasikarangada commentary on Chetan Chaitamrita, the commentator is specifying that it should be used in the meaning of cha and. No wealth or no wealth and no followers and no beautiful spouse and no poetic abilities. So it is used as a conjunction, the conjunction as compulsory conjunction, not a optional conjunction. That is one thing we have seen. So and last time we also saw the interdependency between Dainya and Prema. Why is it that verse after verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going deeper into Dainya? Why is the humility increasing more and more? So we have seen that whenever there is genuine Prema, the Dainya increases. A true devotee would never boast as a devotee. A true devotee would always feel that I am not a devotee, sufficient enough devotion I do not have. So as Dainya increases, Prema increases, and as Prema increases, Dainya increases. That is an interdependent relationship we have seen. That. And we have also seen what is a Naisargika Bhava and a Badhyata Matam. So there's something called a genuine realization and something called a forcible realization. When we are actually reciting Na Dhanam, Na Janam, Na Sundarim in the mornings, in our morning programs, we do not have that genuine realization. We also saw that example of by beating a kacha mango, it does not become a ripe mango. Similarly, somebody who's not at that level of renunciation, when we recite those verses, we should remember that this is the verse spoken by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I am not there yet, but I aspire to be there someday. And then respecting the words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a part of the Ashtaka, I am reciting this. But when we are reciting, we clearly understand that I am not yet there. So I should not pose as being there. That is very important. And then we discuss the story of Daksha and Narada and how Daksha makes a statement that that a sudden renunciation is very dangerous, because this verse is talking all about renunciation. Give up this, give up that. I do not want this. I do not want that. So for a grihastha, for a grihastha, how much and how do we apply this nadanam najanam that we have been discussing? So and then at the end of the class we concluded that how much is required for the body and soul to be together, how much dhanam is required for comfortably executing one's devotional service, that much dhanam should be accepted, because the ashrama duties cannot be neglected. If a devotee does not have dhanam, if a grihastha devotee does not have dhanam at all, then how will the other three ashramas, the brahmachari, vanaprastha or sannyasa, will subsist? They are all dependent on this ashrama. So one has to acquire dhanam in a dharmic way and utilize it as prescribed in the Shastras. Namad adhikarato adhikam dhanam. So, for a sannyasi, na dhanam means absolutely no dhanam. But for a grihastha, not na dhanam means namad adhikarato adhikam dhanam. Not more wealth than what I deserve, what I am meant to have. And Janam also similarly. Na mad adhikarato adhikam Janam. You cannot renounce all the relatives, and then there is that social structure will be broken. So devotee should not do anything because the social structure, the varnashrama system is all established by the Lord for the gradual elevation of a soul. Everybody cannot take to renunciation or to Shuddha Bhakti in a single step. So there is a Vedic system established. One should not, especially a devotee who is an example for others in the society, should not take steps that would transgress the basic system. So what one should not cut off relationship with relatives and all that, but that does not mean that we listen to all that relatives say and act accordingly. We listen to them, but then we would do only that which is favorable to our devotional service. So as dhanam is only as much as your adhikara, namat adhikara to adhikam janam. More than what is required for peaceful running of the family life, do not involve with the relatives. It's not that we stop going for marriages and we stop going for any functions and cut off all relationship with brothers and sisters, not going for Rakhi. No, we shouldn't do such things. We should follow the basic dharmic social structure and then be so exemplary in our practice of devotional service that slowly the other people will also take to devotion. So we should use Janam to help us achieve Prabhupada's mission, to somehow assist us in our services. In that way, slowly they would also come to the path of devotional service. So completely no Janam we shouldn't say. We should engage all our Janam in Prabhupada's mission. That will be the right acceptance of na Janam. Not more than once adhikara. Then Bhaktivinoda Thakur is actually warning all of us about immature renunciation. Immature renunciation is worse than actually indulgence. Immature renunciation will lead to sheer disaster. Definitely, without being qualified, premature renunciation is dead. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is telling. He actually wrote a song on this, which Prabhuji was discussing in this part of the class. I will read out that for you all. Keno Bhekera Prayasa. I am not able to sing well. Please forgive me. I don't know the tune of this song, but it is a song from Baula Sangita by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur had a pen name. His pen name is this Baula. Baula. What was his full pen name? Baula is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's pen name. In this song, it says, Keno Bhekera Prayasa Haya Akala Bheke Sarvanasha. Bheke means renunciation. Why are you aspiring to become a false renunciant? Untimely renunciation will lead to disaster. Sarvanasha. Hale Chitta Shuddhi Tattva Buddhi Bheke Apani Eshe Haya Prakasha. Actually, only when one's consciousness is purified and then means chitta shuddhi happens, then tattva buddhi arises. Tattva buddhi means the intelligence, the transcendental knowledge will be there. There will be realization of the transcendental truth. Then automatically the renunciation will come. Renunciation is not actually change of clothes. When the real chitta shuddhi and tattva buddhi are present, whether you wear a renunciant clothes or not, it doesn't matter. So most of these renunciation parts are told in context with men. So for women anyway, our standard prescription is household life. Initially, with the father, then with the husband, then with the son. Nastri Swatantram Arhati. That is actually told as a protection, a symbol for something precious. So, because the role of women is very important in maintaining the purity of the society, and since they are very precious, and their purity actually is the key role in the quality progeny of the next generation. Such advice is given, and then because we are all mainly in the mode of passion, it is grihastha ashram is the recommended ashrama for us. So we see that initially all of us have suffered from PDS, no, pure devotee syndrome. We will actually look at mother and father also as karmis. All relatives are karmis. I am going to temple every Sunday, so I've become a devotee. So all those things, what we initially do, because when we get to know all these high standards of pure devotional service, we feel that we are already there. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is warning us against all this. He's telling, why do you want to change to the clothes of a renunciant so soon? By premature adoption of renunciation, everything is destroyed. Only when one's consciousness is first purified, then the intelligence perceives transcendental truth. And finally, the change of clothes will automatically come and manifest in its time. Then he further says, one who renounces his home while his heart is not yet purified is called a Markata Vairagi. He's a monkey like renunciant. Due to the heart being full of offenses, acting under the control of enemies like lust, etc., one sinks lower and lower at every step. So by not being there at the level of not wanting money, when we externally keep saying no money, no money, we fall at every step, because though externally that renunciation is there, internally we are not there. We are still attached to money, followers, beautiful spouse, etc. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he explains about four types of false renunciation in his Chaitanya Shikshamrita. There is four types of false renunciation, because na dhanam na janam na sundarim is all about renunciation. So we should definitely understand what is false renunciation, what is true renunciation, and how do we get there to the true renunciation, so that we can attain the constitutional position that Mahaprabhu is praying for in the fifth verse. So the four types of false renunciations are, the first one is Markata Vairagi. Markata Vairagi means monkey-like renunciant. So what is this Markata Vairagya? Without having true detachment in the hearts, when one desires to wander around dressed like ascetics. Externally some dress they wear, and then they wander around without that genuine renunciation inside. But because their senses are not under control, they are constantly prone to performing wrong acts. They're constantly prone to committing wrong acts. Mahaprabhu has termed those who merely wear the external symbols of renunciation as Markata Vairag. We see in the news so many Babas and other renunciants who are actually involved in some scams with women and with money and all this. Why this happen? Because they're only externally garbed as sannyasis, and internally that renunciation, that tattva bodha, it has not arose. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur is talking about a second type of vairagi called a kapata vairagi. So kapata vairagi is a deceitful renunciant. So this deceitful renunciant, what he does, he will take to the garb of renunciation. He will think in this way: in festivals and gatherings, I will easily get delicious food with the Vaishnavas. No matter what unwholesome activities I do, uh, after I die, the Vaishnavas will honor me and I will attain a good afterlife. While I am alive, the householders will offer me with food with respect, and substances like ganja, banga, and opium will also be easily available. So renunciants who accept the garb of renunciation just because life will be easy, and they will get food because people in the Vedic society, they respect the garb of a sannyasi, they respect the form and the appearance and the insignia of a renunciant. They would give dakshina, they will bow down to them, and they will provide what all is required. Because life would become easy, people take to that. And because they will also pray, and because of the dharma of the followers, the sannyasi will get a good afterlife. With that wrong intent, with that cunning intent, some people take to renunciation. Such renunciants are called kapata vairagi, or deceitful renunciants. And then there's a third type of vairagi. Bhaktivinoda Thakur talks in his Chaitanya Shikshamrita. He is a astira vairagi, or a fickle renunciant. So who is this fickle renunciant? What he does is, మనం ఇన్ తెలుగులో మనం అంటాం కదా, శ్మశాన వైరాగ్యం, పురిటి వైరాగ్యం. సో దీస్ ఆర్ టెంపరీ వైరాగ్యస్. సపోజ్ a woman, she is giving birth to a baby. She has to undergo labor pains for so long. So at the during those pains, the woman will make a oath, it seems, that this is the last child I am going to have, no more children, so much pain I cannot take. But then once the baby is there and the little baby starts to smile and talks again, and then she will plan to have a sibling for that baby. The vairagya what comes during labor pain is called puriti vairagya. That's a temporary vairagya. And then when there's a family member dying, somebody very dear one dies, you go to the smashana, you see everywhere all chittis are there, pyres are there, everybody is dying. And then you will feel very detached with material life. You don't want to earn money, don't want to go to any gatherings, festivals, marriages. But some days there is a kind of that sumsan thing falling on you. That is called smashana vairagya. So this puriti vairagya, smashana vairagya, all these are temporary vairagyas. Such kind of vairagyas, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is calling them as astira vairagi, or a fickle renunciant. A momentary sense of detachment arises sometimes due to reasons such as quarrels with spouse. When somebody fights with spouse, he will think that one shouldn't marry, or something like that. Or when distress is there, and then there's no money, pain, they do not have a good job to take care of the family, or the children are not obedient. Just because family life is uncomfortable, if you take to renunciation, that is temporary vairagya. Vairagya should come out of genuine search for one's own self, genuine hankering for God realization. If it is not for the love of Godhead, any other renunciation, any other reason for renunciation is definitely astira. That is what is being told. Lack of money, pain, inability to get, ఎవరు పిల్లని ఇవ్వకపోతే బ్రహ్మచారి అయిపోతారు కదా. That is not a reason to become a renunciant. Or the death of a spouse. Those who those who adopt the garb of renunciation in the heat of temporary emotions are called astira vairagis. They lack genuine discernment, and consequently they turn into kapata vairagis. Once the pain or the emotion comes down, automatically the vairagya also comes down, because the heart is not yet purified, the senses are not purified, the mind is not purified. So these people again fall back into indulgence. So such renunciation is called astira vairagya. And there's a fourth type of vairagya described by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It is called aupadika vairagya. This is the most dangerous of the four vairagyas. This is an artificial renunciation. So because people consume intoxicants, and then they consume these LSDs, all these things, and they become unfit for the world because of these. And then they remain in some state of stupor, and then practice expressing artificial haribhakti. Through practice, they artificially display the external symptoms of devotion in front of ignorant human society. You read from one will cry, one will become gadgada, one will have romancha, and all these artificially they exhibit under the influence of the intoxicants. And I personally even met some people who not devotees, but there are so many cults, no, in India. So as prasad, they take that ganjai, they used to do some vrata, and they put that some smoke and inhale it, and then they say that in that state you can really connect with God. I could feel Shiva sitting beside me. I've seen some people do such things like that. And then They artificially display the external symptoms of devotion in front of the ignorant human society. Or by relying on inert, dull attachment to matter, they attempt to attain pure attachment to Bhagavan. Such people, by wearing the symbols of renunciations, become aupadika vairagi or artificial renunciation. Such renunciation is extremely lowly and also harmful. The other three vairagis, no, they are only cheating themselves. But this fourth kind of vairagis, they are actually cheating the ignorant masses of the society, and then people who are not well informed, who are not knowing the shastras, seeing the external garb of a sannyasi, they tend to follow these people, and these people, along with their fall down, they're also taking say many people with them down into a hellish planet. So this fourth type of vairagya is very very dangerous. So the fourth type of vairagya, why we have to be informed, so that we check our near and dear ones from going to them. And then uh, after knowing the four types of false renunciation, we should also know what is actually real renunciation. So real renunciation, true renunciation, is called Yathartha Vairagya or true renunciation. So Yathartha Vairagya is detachment from worldly objects that arises naturally upon awakening of bhakti. Bhakti, that is the true beauty of a devotee's life. So the renunciation is not a prerequisite or a precursor to devotional service, but it is a what do we call it? It is a byproduct. It is a aftermath. No? You see it along with side effect. It's a side effect of pure devotional service. It's not merely an anga of bhakti. It is a anubhava of bhakti. When your bhakti comes to the level of bhava, that is when true renunciation is seen in a devotee, is experienced by a devotee. So this is all explained. All these details are explained by Bhakti Vinod Thakur in Chaitanya Shikshamrita, fifth shower. These details are there. The four types of false vairagyas, and the fifth, the Yathartha Vairagya, and how Yathartha Vairagya is actually a anubhava of pure bhava bhakti and not a anga of, it's not in the 64 angas of devotional service. It's not that by practicing renunciation you will become a good devotee. No. When you become a good devotee, renunciation is automatically manifested in a sadhaka's ways, behavior, heart, etc. So Mahaprabhu is actually, when he was about to marry, he made we have to say, when we say Na Sundarim, for a householder, what does Na Sundarim mean? So Mahaprabhu here, Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 15:26, Mahaprabhu is telling, Grihini vina griha dharma nahaya shobana, yeta chinti vivaha karite haila mana. Without a wife, Lord Chaitanya considered there is no meaning to householder life. Thus, the Lord decided to marry. So, it is the same person who wrote the verse Na Dhanam Na Janam Na Sundarim. But when he was in with his mother and he is able to accept the Grihastha, he didn't say Na Sundarim. He said, without Grihini, there is no meaning to Grihastha. So, while in the Grihastha, one has to take up a wife and then do the duties of a householder. Not that we are పడుకున్నారేమో అవి వేసేసి అవి రేపేద్దాము. So
when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was marrying, sorry.
So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got married, he told that one has to accept a wife. So we see even girls also. I've talked to some girls who say, I don't want to marry Mataji. I'm not interested in marriage, but my parents are forcing. So I will just get married for their sake. And then after getting married, then they're not interested in doing the household duties as a wife. And then they're irritated when in-laws are not devotees, then she will make Krishna consciousness more unattractive for the parents. Already the parents would be so psyched up with the Prabhuji who took to devotion, and the daughter-in-law comes and makes it more tough. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they're not recommending such things. We have to have a proper grihastha life immersed in devotion to Sri Bhagwan. So it has to be it has to be so full of um, uh, devotional activities and so inspiring for the others that we should be more accommodative than the regular householders, that everybody uh, uh, just by the interactions of a grihastha devotee, the other grihasthas who are not taking to devotional service should feel inspired to take to devotional service. That would be our na janam in the right spirit. And also Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami, when he came to Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu didn't say, very good, very good, you left home and came. You're welcome, my boy, please join us. He didn't say like that. What did Mahaprabhu say? This is Chetan Chaitamrita Madhya Leela 16:237. Sthirahana gare yao, na hao vatula. Krame krame paya loka, bhava sindhu pula. Pula means is bridge. No? Bhava Sindhu is material ocean. Krame krame paya. Gradually, you will be able to cross the material existence. Sthirahana gareya. For now, be patient and go home. Naha Vatula. Don't be a crazy fellow. So, see, Raghunath Das Goswami is actually renunciation personified. Mahaprabhu appreciated him so much later, no, for all what he did. We know so many incidents at Jagannath Puri. But the first instruction what Mahaprabhu gave him is don't take to this untimely renunciation. Don't be a crazy fellow. For now, be patient and return home. Gradually, you will be able to cross the material ocean. So till now, as we discussed last class, second half, and today's first half. So how much is prescribed? How much is allowed? How much I am according to the dharmic rules, to my varna and ashrama rules, according to the instructions of my authority. So much I will earn. That should be the dhanam and janam also, and sundarim also for the grihasthas. So for a sannyasi, it is completely na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. For a grihastha, it will be na bad adhikarato adhikam janam. Not more than my adhikara dhanam. Na mad adhikarato adhikam janam. Not more than my adhikara janam. Na mad adhikarato sundarim. Only with the wedded spouse for a Krishna conscious grihastha life, for Krishna conscious progeny. So, namad adhikarato adhikam sundarim. And then kavitam also, only namad adhikarato adhikam kavita, only for the glorification of the Lord. To preach the name, fame, qualities, pastimes, and glory, and the wonderful nature of the holy names. For all these, one should utilize one's poetic abilities, not otherwise, not for one's own fame, not for one's own glory, but for the Lord's fame and glory. One has to accept kavitam as much as it is required for the glory of the Lord. So again and again, the point, the buzzword today is beware of immature renunciation. Beware of immature renunciation. When we recite na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim in the morning, remember that I am not yet there. Though I aspire for it, I am not yet there. I am reciting this in order to respect Mahaprabhu's words in the Siksastakam. I am not yet there. And for me, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim means accept as much that is required for my Krishna conscious practice. And then actually Prabhuji told the story of a devotee when they were newly into Krishna consciousness. Many people joined together, and then some devotees preached to this devotee. He was lame. His legs were, couldn't walk with himself. But he had some property and all that. He was doing some job. But then they preached him this na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. So then you give away all your money and then you serve in the temple. Krishna will take care. If you really want to go in the path of devotional service, all these are obstacles for your devotional service. So what the devotee did, that is what he was preached. He gave away all his money. He decided not to marry. And then he gave up his job and he joined full time. And then he served there for many years. Prabhuji told that this is a true incident that I have seen. So I keep telling this again because anything true and honest would really touch the hearts and minds of people. So after some years in the temple, he was told that we cannot keep you in the temple anymore because your services are not required anymore. Because there were other people who could do better. He was a handicapped person. He was not able to as efficiently serve. So he was asked to go away. Then the person along going out, not only going out of the temple, he went out of Krishna consciousness also. Then he went back to the material world. He started his career from scratch, and then he again got his job, earned money, everything. But then he is no more interested in Krishna consciousness. But better going away from Krishna instead of, if he hadn't renounced earlier and kept that money, and he whatever he could give as donation to the temple and the activities, and then he kept touch with devotees, and then he was chanting. Someday when the real renunciation would come, he would anyway give his everything, not only money, not only house, but his very life to the service of the Lord. But because of being given a advice at the wrong time, that immature renunciation led to finally that soul going away from Krishna consciousness. So actually, Prabhuji is warning the preachers that without knowing the patra of the hearer, don't preach them untimely renunciation. When the genuine renunciation come, we would anyway sing like Bhakti Vinod Thakur. मानस दे होगे हो जो किछु मोर अर्पिलु तुआ पदे nand kishore. Without coming to that level of nothing is mine, if we think if we give away whatever we think is ours and give it away, then that will lead to us going away from Krishna and not. That is what Daksha's argument with Narada is. For everybody cannot take to renunciation directly. Don't make exceptions as a norm. By making exceptions as a norm, we will be destroying the standard structure of Krishna consciousness or spiritual upliftment, gradual spiritual upliftment established by the Supreme Lord in the Vedic society. So it is very important. Better to have a dharmic artha then become sinful with false renunciation. So, because see, some news and all we see, there's adulteration in prasadam, some devotees are misappropriating temple money. Why all these things are happening? Because of false renunciation, untimely renunciation. So, better than that is have a dharmic income, artha, and Rupa Goswami gave us a formula also, use half of it for Krishna consciousness, remaining half spend some for the family, keep some for the emergencies, and some for relatives, like that. So there's a formula also given by Rupa Goswami. If Nadhanam is the only principle for everybody, why would Rupa Goswami give us a formula for how to spend one's income? So that means that until we are there, don't take to false renunciation and spend money, earn money as much as is your adhikara, earn money as much as is your adhikara, and spend as it is prescribed in the Shastras and told by our acharyas under guidance of senior grihasthas and authorities, etc. That is what is told. And then, why nadhanam? Why so much is stress on nadhanam, nadhanam? We discussed about Nalakubara and Manigriva last time. So the Sri Mada is the worst mother. It is the worst of all prides. Once the Sri Mada comes, all other bad qualities will follow. It is the greatest intoxication. Sri Mada is the greatest intoxication. There is a devotee called Sri Harisuri. He is telling us how great people have done mistakes because of the Sri Mada. The pride, Sri Mada means Mada arising due to Sri. Sri is wealth, Sampada. Because of that Sampada, whatever, the pride because of Dhanam, what is coming, how great people have done mistakes. He gives us some examples. पापार्दे फलमाप्तवान् दशरथो मद्यादिमौ भूरुहौ द्यूतात् पूर्वभुवस्तवाप्तगन तवाप्तगहना सुन्दश्च कान्ते हय सीताया हरणेन पङ्क्तिमुख इति एतत्त्वया ज्ञातमपि अर्वाक् सर्वमतापि हन्त कथितं धृत्वोपदेशक्रमम्. Is telling King Dasharatha got the reaction of killing Shravanakumara while hunting for deer meat. Those two sons of Kuvera, who Nalakubara and Manigriva, got the reaction of drinking alcohol. Parikshit's forefathers got a reaction for gambling, the Pandavas he meant. And Sunda Upasunda as well as Ravana got a reaction for desiring illicit sex. It is well known that all these intoxications arise from the greatest intoxication of all time, Srimada, the intoxication of wealth. So this meat eating, then means Madira drinking, and then gambling, illicit sex, all these come without calling for where there is pride for money. The Sri Mada will invite all these other sinful propensities. So if you only keep telling this is the problem, then that is not the style of our acharyas. He also gives the remedy for Srimada. Yeah. So if this pride is coming because of wealth, that means when wealth is not there, that pride should be gone. So Sri Harisuri says that poverty is the best medicine. Poverty is a remedy for Srimada. लोभो निष्फलतां प्रयात्य तितरां नोत्पद्यते हंकृतिः क्रोधो न श्रयते पगच्छति मद कामास्तु निर्वीर्यक मोहो मोहमुपैति अमत्सरगतिर्यद्योगतो जायते पुंसः सिद्धवद प्रयत्नमिति तत् दारिद्र्यमीड्यं न किम्. He says Daridhyam idyam kim, who will not desire poverty? Why? Because poverty is giving many gifts, it seems. By the attainment of Daridya, poverty, greed becomes useless. False ego doesn't get a chance to arise. What a poor man, he is not having anything to wear properly, eat properly. So, where he will get ego? And then there is no chance for anger to take shelter in us. Then illusion itself becomes illusioned, lust becomes impotent, intoxication runs far away, and then non-enviousness is automatically attained. All this happened just by attainment of Daridya. Who then will not desire such a state of existence? So Kunti Maharani is also telling in her prayers, Janma Ishwarya Sutashri Bir Edamana Madappuman Naivarhatya Bidatum Vai Tvama Kinchana Gosham. Janma Aishwarya Shuta Shri. She told now 4 things that are disqualifications, and the Shri is the king. Just like in senses, Tara Madhya Jihva Ati, like that, among the 4 disqualifications, Shri is a very big disqualification. And then when the Shri is gone, the Daridya comes in, automatically half of your bad attitude is gone. And the Lord is the property of the impoverished. Kinchit means little. Akinchit means not that little also not there. Na kinchana is akinchana. So akinchana gocharam. Krishna can be seen by the akinchanas. Krishna is the property of the akinchanas. Then but we see Parishit Maharaj was a rich man. Dishtir Maharaj was a rich man. Ambarisha was a rich man. They were kings. But then they never had any proprietorship feeling towards all that they had. They saw everything as the Lord's property. So akinchanatva is actually not thinking of your dhana as your dhana. So that will come only by devotional service. When a sadhaka's devotional service becomes pakwa, comes to the stage of bhava, that is when the real akinchanatva comes. Till then, poverty is desired by the sadhaka. That is what Sri Harishauri is telling. So so how do we pray? I cannot say nadanam najanam because for a grihastha that is not recommended. But then I cannot tell ajanam, majanam. I require everything because that will lead to Srimada and I will fall down in my sadhana. So how do I pray? Then Prabhuji gives us a shloka in what mood one has to pray. Akritva parasantapam agatva अनुत्सृज्य सतां वर्त्म यत् स्वल्पन अपि तद् बहुः. whatever little artha is obtained without giving pain to others, without bending over backwards in front of ruffians. Means you shouldn't do salam to khalas, no, to lowly people, and without giving up the path of the saintly souls. So satam vartma, without giving up satam vartma, whatever you can um, whatever we can obtain, that is more than sufficient for us. So we should not earn money by giving pain to others, by doing what to say, chemchagiri to to lowly people. And we shouldn't do any earning plans where we have to give up the path of the saintly people. So, if Satam Vartma is spoilt because of your endeavors for any artha, then we shouldn't take to that process. If I'm getting a job somewhere far in the city, and then there is some sadhu sangha going on, and then there's a Bhagavatam class going on beside my house every day, and I'm not able to attend, then I better not take that job. Of course, that artha I will give as donation, but such type of decisions we should be very careful in taking. Accept that which does not deviate you from the path of saintly persons, which does not deprive you from the association of saintly persons. Um, um, with whatever is available, without giving pain to others, without bending in front of lowly people, a devotee should be satisfied. So what is that Mukunda Madhavas? Grameshamal Padikam. You are the servant of Narayana. He will take care of everything. Why should you actually worship Katipaya, Gramesha, Malpartadam for very um, petty incentives? Don't worship the lowly people. That is the advice given by Kulashekara also in Mukundamala. So, whatever work it is and whatever context it is, all the acharyas in various languages have actually given the same message. So that the common thing is, don't accept anything that would take you away from the association of saintly devotees. That is a common advice we see across sampradayas, across languages, given by all our acharyas. So we do not desire excess wealth, only that much wealth which keeps us in the path of the saintly devotees, and that helps us serve the family and also the other three ashramas well. That much dhanam has to be accepted. So there is so much more discussion on Janam and Sundarim and all that, but I've thought it is more relevant to Prabhuji's. For Mataji's anyway, we are following our family heads. So this much discussion on Na Dhanam, Na Janam, Na Sundarim and Kavita. I halt this discussion here, and then I would like to quickly discuss the meaning of the fifth verse before we end today's class. न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतात् भक्तिरहैतुकी त्वयि. And one more thing, we discussed the six angas of Sharanagati last class. Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam, rakshishyati iti vishwaso, goptrutve varanam tata, atma nikshep karpanyam, shadvida sharanagati. So the nadanam, najanam, na sundarim, these are all under pratikulyasya varjanam. And then, but all these should be done with the complete faith that Krishna is my maintainer. Goptrutve varanam tata, he is my maintainer. And the karpanya, that dainya, karpanya is dainya, that I am Atmanikshepa is I am his, and Karpanya is I am not able to do. All these aspects one should remember, and in that mood continue to chant the holy name. So in the next verse, we'll recite the next verse first. Ainandatanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam budau कृपया तव पाद पंकज स्थित धूलि सदृशं विचिन्तया. One standard mistake what all our devotees do is, my Guru Maharaj is always particularly telling this. In Sanskritam, when the last vowel is long, it indicates the Strilinga, feminine gender. So if we say Rama, Ramaha, Rama, where Ma is a Rasva, it is indicating Rama, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When we say Rama, then it is Lakshmi or Sita, like that. So when it becomes it become when the last vowel is long, it becomes feminine. So when we say Krishna, it is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When we say Krishna, it is Draupadi, the son of Drupada, the Mahishi of the Pandavas. So when we say Nanda Tanuja, Tanuja means one who is born from the body. Tanuja means son. So Nanda Tanuja means Krishna, Rajendra Nandana, Nanda Nandana. And then Tanuja means who was the daughter of Nanda and Yashoda. That the six-armed god, the many-armed goddess who came in front of Kamsa, she told him, "You're the person who is going to kill you is already born and is growing elsewhere." So that is Maya Devi. So we are praying Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitammam Vishame Bhavamudo. We actually want to pray that, "Oh Lord, I want to be your servant." But just by making the ja long, Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram, what happens is we are praying that, "Oh Maya Devi, I want to become your servant." No, we actually want to go from her jurisdiction to her brother's jurisdiction. But unknowingly, we are praying constantly to be her Kinkaras. We don't want to be Nanda Tanuja Kinkaras. We want to be Nanda Tanuja Kinkaras. So this one thing, little carefully, please recite. Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram, Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavambudau, Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja, Stitaduli Sadrasham Vichintaya. So please consider me um, um, as a Stitaduli, as a Renu, as a speck of dust at your lotus feet. I am actually immersed. I have fallen into this Bhavambudhi, the material ocean. Kripaya, O Lord, with mercy, Tavapada Pankaja Stitaduri Sadrasham Vichintya. Please consider me a speck of dust at your lotus feet. So here we see that there are two states for a soul. For a soul, there are two states. One is the conditioned state, that which we are in now. And then our constitutional state, our original state, no? Jivera Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nityadas. So I am an eternal servant of Krishna, the son of Maharaj Nanda. Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram. So the first line is telling about our constitutional position. Then Patitammam Vishame Bhavambudau. I have fallen into this Bhavambudhi, material ocean. Vishame. So I am doing all fruitive activities. I will do anything just for results. So the first line is telling the constitutional position of a jiva, and the second line is explaining the conditioned position of a jiva. This is where we have to go back, come back to that state, and then this is the second line is our conditioned state, our current state now. So to go from the conditioned state to the constitutional state, one must one must pray very sincerely, honestly, earnestly. See, there is no substitute to honesty. If one cannot be honest to oneself, if one cannot be honest in one's own spiritual life, if we are not clear about our own level and ability in Krishna consciousness, in renunciation, then nobody can help us. There is no substitute, there is no alternative to honesty. Honesty is the best policy, even in Krishna consciousness. So, with all honesty, with full sincerity, understanding that we are in the conditioned state and declaring our aspiration to get to the constitutional state, we are praying. So, Lord Chaitanya is teaching us to humbly pray, "Oh Lord, please be merciful upon me, Kripayaham, and consider me a mere particle of dust at your lotus feet. Chitaduli Sadrasham Vichintaya." Please think like this. So the essence of Bhakti Yoga lies in renouncing all these temporary identities and embracing our own spiritual identity. Srimad Bhagavatam defines liberation also in the same terms. Muktir hi tvanyata rupam swarupena vyavastitihi. Mukti means liberation is hitva anyata rupam. Hitva is to give up. Anyata Rupam is other designations which you are not meant to be. Muktir Tvanyata Rupam Swarupena Vyavastitihi. Swarupa is in your own position, in your own designation. In your own designation as the Nanda Tanuja Kinkara. Gopi Bhartru Padakamalyo Dasa Dasa Anudasa. So Jivera Swarupa Hoy Krishnera Nitya Dasa. That is defined as Mukti in Srimad Bhagavatam. So from the conditioned state to the constitutional position, to go there from where you are. In this verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is praying for the mercy of Bhagavan. Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavambudo Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Stitaduli Sadrisham Vichintaya. So in the coming class, we will discuss more details about this verse, the chandas and word to word meaning, and also the commentaries of the various acharyas. If anybody has any doubts or want to add some comments, please do know. Karnaradika Mataji, let me know when you want me to stop the recording. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Yeah, you can stop the recording, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Beautiful, Mataji. All practical points చెప్పారు. Because ఇలా